unfortunately, how that impacts everybody negatively, anybody that's trying to mine. And really, the big success stories have been either building at extreme scale, or of course going ahead and utilizing some sort of stranded power. And those are kind of the two options that you have right now to reduce that cost, unless of course the Trump administration follows through with the promise of reducing energy prices. Seeing with the essentially with the wars going on in Ukraine, Russia, and then of course in the Middle East, and all of that kind of coming to a head. Usually you don't see that coincided with reduced energy costs, right? That usually always is correlated to an increased energy cost. So do I think it's realistic that Trump will be able to follow through on that promise? No. And that really brings us to our point here. Bitcoin miners drawing power from grids will face a reckoning post next halving. And this is coming from Marathon Digital. So with rising energy costs, many miners may not survive the 2028 halving. I got to meet this guy, by the way. He's a nice guy. Bitcoin miners that are still drawing electricity from the grid attached power sources will struggle after the next halving event in 2028, Mara Holdings said in a shareholder letter. Quote, for those miners still relying on grid-attached power, the writing is on the wall. Energy costs will only rise. The 2028 halving will likely force another industry-wide reckoning. Many may not survive, the letter said. The statement comes as the mining industry has already been struggling to stay profitable following a recent halving event that saw Bitcoin rewards cut in half, forcing some miners to diversify their revenue sources into high-performance computing and artificial intelligence. Of course, that isn't being as successful as we thought when we talk about, the results of HUT 8 that we just covered here earlier. So the miner solution, which it claims to have already taken an early lead on, is to secure low-cost energy, vertically integrate their operations, and expand beyond the traditional Bitcoin mining business, alluding to the fact that miners still need to cater to other computing needs such as AI and HPC. Now, in the interview I saw with him and HUT 8, it was actually quite opposite. He had said that he didn't think that you would want to move into AI and HPC. So it's interesting that that is getting mentioned now in this shareholder letter, because that does mean that we're seeing an actual 180 from Mara on this particular stance. So keep that in mind. Maybe that does mean we're getting close to that proverbial bubble. Well, our ability to acquire sites and generate low-cost energy, activate depreciated hardware and energy assets, and run a vertically integrated model from software and hardware, and now to energy generation, will provide us greater control over costs. To this end, Mara most recently bought a Texas wind farm that would lower the miners' power costs. Mara said it has also ramped up development and sales of data center infrastructure, which will become the base layer of infrastructure for any computing needs. Quote, whether for Bitcoin mining or AI inference, we believe our technologies will activate others to build, while Mara provides the picks and shovels to deploy new systems and services, such as energy management, load balancing, and infrastructure. The miner also reported its fourth quarter earnings, where its sales of 214.4 million beat the average analyst estimate of 187.8 million, according to FactSet data. Mara's stock rose more than 8%. Now, keep in mind, of course, they were able to do this by and large thanks to their move into KASPA. We saw massive sell-offs from them the last quarter of 2024 of KASPA. So I just think that's an interesting point to add in there. They mainly use the KASPA to pay to keep more Bitcoin on their balance sheet, which obviously has made them look extremely strong here in the first quarter of 2025. So I think, yeah, that's it. I mean, everything looks like, as far as it's considered, home mining is going the way of the buffalo. And we kind of just out-farmed it. And maybe we don't get to see those days again. You'd always hope for a solid proof of work project that is ASIC resistant, but I think anything that goes down the line of ASICs is going to have this problem where you're competing with large companies like Marathon Digital, HUT 8, etc. And because they have the capital and the investment to build up these large, these large power generation things like the buying a wind farm and that sort of thing, it's going to be extremely difficult to compete with them. And really, mining is a PvP game. Getting lower power costs, etc., is the game, the name of the game, and you got to do it if you want to stay relevant. And frankly, I struggle with that, and I actually have connections to help me get there, and I can't even do it, right? Like, it's not an easy task at the end of the day. Solar and batteries. Yeah, the batteries cost for solar, but you don't necessarily need batteries, right, Aussie? So a strategy you could utilize just in general, by the way, is just running off the solar while you have solar. That can cause additional wear and tear to your hardware, though. So I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.